Nyob, and hello to each and every one of you. In today's video, as you can tell, I'm in my garden. I wanted to do a video of just showing you everything that we harvest this year in our garden and how I like to use up everything that we planted. It's been a pretty good year with all of our plants and vegetables and fruits, and we've been enjoying it thoroughly throughout this season. So I've been collecting videos throughout this whole garden season so that I can show you a little bit of our garden and what we harvested this year. So with further ado, let's go ahead and check it out. Herbs are essential in the garden, so my mom and I like to plant a lot of cilantro. We always have cilantro in our garden bed, and we love to grow quite a lot of it. We use it for a lot of different dishes, stir fries, salads, dressings, dipping sauce. So my mom loves to plant quite a lot of it. We do share amongst our family as well. And green onions. So we love growing green onions. Green onions and cilantro is the top two that we always have to grow in our garden. I always enjoy making fresh cilantro and green onion pepper dip. It's amazing with grilled meats and any protein of your choice. I'll use it for stir fries as well and a lot of different dishes. And I also like to grow basil. So this year I grew Italian basil. Typically I will also grow Thai basil, but I just did Italian basil this year and they grew really well. My dad built me a garden bed here and I put them here and they actually grew pretty well. I'm picking all of them so that they can actually produce more leaves later in the weeks. For this much basil, I am making pesto, and I usually make a big batch of it and store it in the freezer for whenever I want to use it. And kaffir lime leaves. So my mom loves to grow kaffir lime leaves for a lot of different dishes. She uses it for stir fries, for soups, lots of different ways to use kaffir lime leaves. We do like to pick a whole bunch of it and then place it in a bag and store it in the freezer and then just pull out whenever you want to use it. Typically, I like to use it in stocks, stir fries, or salads. Pumpkin and squashes. So I love to plant a lot of pumpkin and squashes every year. I typically will do Hmong pumpkin, and then I also like to plant kombucha squash. I do like to plant quite a lot of it, not only just for the pumpkin, but for the outer leaves as well. So these are the outer shoots that I love to pick every summer to fall, and then I would typically basically just use it for stir fries or put it in the soup. In the earlier stage of the pumpkin season, we'll typically have some small young pumpkins like this that we like to pick and just put it in soup because they're a lot tender and they're not going to produce any bigger. So my mom likes to pick them so that the other bigger pumpkins can produce a lot better. So I'm just doing a very simple stir fry here, and then my mom also loves to use these in a soup, and I do like to mix a little bit of rice into it like this. And then eggplant. So this year, one of my friends gave me a lot of eggplant starter, and we planted quite a variety of eggplants. I have like Chinese style, Japanese style, and Italian style eggplants that I grew this year, and I've been trying to utilize eggplants in different types of dishes. This year I made eggplant parmesan just for my family. I do love to make eggplant pepper dip, stir fry with it, lots of different ways, but eggplant's pretty versatile. I love using it for a lot of different dishes. And then our beautiful banana tree. So our banana tree grows really well every year. It produces quite a lot of leaves that are quite green and luscious. And I do like to pick these leaves and store it in the freezer or just use it fresh right off the tree whenever I want to use it for a certain dish. The banana tree grows pretty well in our area, but it does not produce any bananas because it's not hot enough through the season, so the leaves are pretty much all we get. So I usually just pick the leaves and then take care of it and store it in the freezer. We also planted a few Korean style cucumber. We don't really do a lot of cucumbers because we usually just plant it for my dad who loves to snack on cucumbers. And then we have tomatoes. So I love growing tomatoes. I love doing heirlooms. I love cherry tomatoes, lots of different types of tomatoes. And I love growing them so that I can just eat them fresh off the vine. I also love to stir fry them, put it in pepper dip, and a lot of different dishes.
Ooh.
So here I made a very simple beef and tomato stir fry. I love to put it in with eggs, make a very simple tomato herb chili pepper dip here, and eat it with my favorite protein and a side of rice. And then peppers. So peppers are essential in our garden as well. I love to grow a variety of different peppers. So this year I did like Anaheim peppers, shishito peppers, a lot of different types of peppers that I can stir fry and blistered and add a little bit of salt to it and enjoy it as a side. So I usually like to pick all of them and just cook it all at once. Some peppers here, I'm not really sure what the names are because they are just seeds that have been handed down to me by my friends and relatives. So if you do know some of these names for these peppers, I would love to know. But I usually pick these peppers and just blister it in oil and then season it with a little bit of salt and enjoy it as it is with maybe some rice and some grilled meat. But some of these peppers, we do like to let them continue growing so that they turn red, and then we'll pick them and dry them or just put it in a Ziploc bag and freeze them and then use it whenever we want to use it. My mom also loves to grow a bunch of chili peppers that have been handed down by my grandma. She usually will give us seeds that she's been planting through years, give it to my mom, and then we'll plant buckets of peppers here and pick them and then store it in Ziploc bags, freeze it, and then use it for pepper dips. These peppers are quite spicy. I honestly don't know the specific name for this because the seeds have been passed down by my grandma, and my grandma doesn't really know the name. She just call it hatsal. This year I actually dried some of them and then we turn it into chili powder. And we also grew some corn this year. Not a lot, just enough for one round of snacking. So my mom loves to grow more of the stickier style of corn. And these are the smaller, stickier corn that is slightly sweet, but it has more of a stickier texture to it. Once they are harvested, we simply just steam it until they're nice and soft and snack on it. And here we are with our lemongrass. So lemongrass is also very essential in our garden. We love to grow quite a lot of it and store it in the freezer and then just take it out whenever we want to use it. So my mom and I planted buckets of lemongrass here and we are ready to harvest them. Here in our area, lemongrass grows pretty well in buckets, especially black nursery pots here because it helps retain the heat since we don't have long enough summer days and hot sun here. So that's why you see most of our lemongrass being grown in pots instead of the ground. After we finished picking the leaves and the stalks, we're basically just storing the stalks in a Ziploc bag and placing it in the freezer. For the leaves, my mom likes to let it sit out overnight to 2 days to kind of wilt and make the leaves a little bit more flexible and fragile, and then she'll wrap it up into bundles like this. We'll place it in a Ziploc bag and place it in the freezer, and then just take it out whenever we want to use it as well. If you want to check out a whole video about how to grow lemongrass, I do have that video. I'll put the link down below in the description box. And here we have chayotes. So my mom loves to grow chayote. My dad built a support system so that they can hang and continue to grow big like this. But take a look at all of these. They grew quite pretty well this year. These are a little bit harder to grow in our area, so they do need a lot of attention and nutrients, and we do have to fertilize them so that they can continue to grow into fruits like this. So I like to put it in soups. You can also eat it raw and put it in salads as well. My mom loves to just simply steam it. Now, during the earlier stage of a chayote plant, you can actually pick the outer shoots here as well. They're actually edible and they're great to be put in stir fries or in a soup. So this is what my mom is doing right now. And then it is time for the pumpkins and the squashes to be harvested. So here I'm picking the Hmong pumpkin that we grew this year. The Hmong pumpkin and the kabocha squash is often used in soups and stews and perfect for any fall dishes. Here we have my mom picking zhangzhou or zhaopang. She loves to grow mustard greens or bok choy or any kind of greens that can be used for stir fries or soups. It is fall and it is time to harvest our persimmons. So we have 2 persimmon trees that we've been growing for 7+ years now, and every year we get pretty good amounts of persimmons and we are ready to pick them. These are Fuyu persimmons. We typically like to grow these because for us we prefer these type of persimmons. We usually will have to pick them before the frost hit. If they are slightly orange like this, my mom and I would go ahead and pick them and then store it in a bucket in a dark place so that it can continue to ripen. My family does like to eat these persimmons slightly on the crunchier side instead of the super extra soft side. So this is also a reason why we pick them at this stage. And with that, the garden season is officially over. The first frost of the year approached us. We usually will cover everything that needs to be covered, bring everything that needs to be brought inside to continue growing, and then just wait for next year's garden season. So I hope you enjoy seeing what we grew this year in our garden. Until then, I will see you in my next video.